When I say that I'm vegan, what I'm saying is that I don't abuse animals and that I don't pay people to abuse animals. I don't know why people think that's so extreme or crazy or unrelatable. Um, Everybody should be vegan unless you are for animal cruelty. It makes no sense to say that you're against animal cruelty when you're actually funding it. Um, if the monster who set this dog on fire instead took a bolt gun to her head, like they do to the cows and the pigs and the slaughterhouses, um, and slit her throat like they do to the cows and the pigs and the chickens in the slaughterhouses, and hung her up by her one leg and bled her out and then cooked her up and ate her, would you then think that, this wasn't an act of animal cruelty? That it was okay because, he did it for food, for protein? No, you would probably actually think he was more of a monster if instead of setting Riona on fire, he took a bolt gun to her head, slit her throat, hung her by her leg, bled her out, cut her up, cooked her, and ate her. So let's be real. When you are consuming animal products, you are funding not just animal abuse, some pretty horrific acts of animal abuse. And you're doing this all day long, like every time you consume a non-vegan product. So, most likely every morning, then a few hours again at lunchtime, and then a few hours again at dinner time. Like, you really need to just stop for a minute and think about how much you're really hurting animals, like all day long. So you can't say that you're against animal cruelty when you're literally funding animal cruelty all day long. And it's never been easier to be vegan. So I don't know why you're fighting against veganism. It makes no sense. It's never been easier to be vegan, and it's actually the best thing you can do for your own health, not just for the health of the animals, but it's actually the best thing you can do for your own health. If you went vegan and, especially if you're sticking to a mostly whole foods plant-based diet, that's literally the best thing you can do for your own health. A whole foods plant-based diet significantly reduces your risk of heart disease, the leading cause of death. Significantly reduces your risk of many forms of cancer, of type 2 diabetes, of cerebrovascular disease, of kidney disease. And going vegan is the best thing you can do to help save this planet. We are literally on the brink of the 6th mass extinction. Rivers are drying up. Forests are being cut down at a rate of about an acre a second. And this is all mainly due to animal agriculture. Animal agriculture is not just the most brutal industry that has ever existed. It is the most environmentally devastating industry that has ever existed. It is literally the leading cause of deforestation, species extinction, water pollution, water depletion, ocean dead zones, fisheries depletion, pandemics, world hunger, and climate change. So it's a win-win-win if you go vegan, because it's the best thing you can do for the animals, it's the best thing you can do for your own health, and it's the best thing you can do to help save the planet. It takes an enormous amount of resources to raise all of these ceaseless billions of animals that are needed to keep up with the demand for animal flesh and animal secretions. Cattle raised for beef are mostly on feedlots. Most cattle raised for beef are on feedlots being fed grains. It takes 12 to 22 months to fatten these animals up for slaughter. What do you think these animals are eating every day? These animals that grow to be somewhere around 2,000 pounds. What do you think these animals are eating day after day after day after day for 12 to 22 months? What do you think the pigs are eating day after day after day for the 6 months that they're raised for their flesh. And all of these ceaseless tens of billions of animals need to drink water. So yeah, all the crops that it takes to feed all of these animals, way more crops are needed to feed livestock than are needed for direct human consumption. So yeah, a lot more water has to be used to water the crops to feed livestock. And then the livestock animals have to be given water to drink, and they need more water, during heat waves. And then these industrial sheds that house, chickens and turkeys and pigs by the thousands have to be cleaned. What do you think they're cleaning these sheds with? Most likely water. About 50% of the fresh water usage is directed to the animal agriculture industry. And again, 1 acre of land is cleared every single second, and it is mainly to graze and grow food for livestock. And when they're clearing an acre of land a second, think of all the plants and animals that are being killed in the process. Animal agriculture is the leading cause of species extinction, not just deforestation, but species extinction. And not just the animals being killed, in the process of, clearing out land to graze and grow food for livestock, but they're literally killing millions of wild animals intentionally each and every year because animals like wild American horses compete with livestock for grazing land. So they're wiping out the wild American horses over livestock. They're killing off the wolves. They're killing off the bobcats, the foxes, the coyotes, because those animals are a threat to livestock. Even in Australia, they are literally wiping out the kangaroos. They kill the kangaroos in Australia by the millions each year because kangaroos compete with livestock for grazing land. What do I think about hunting? It's no different than serial killing. I'm not a speciesist. I'm not a human supremacist, so I see no difference because there is no difference. Maybe legally there might be a difference, but legality does not equal morality. We don't have to consume animal flesh or animal secretions to be healthy. Therefore, it's immoral and unjust to harm animals just because you get self-gratification from it. I mean, you could very easily choose plant-based options, which are so much more healthier, so much more environmentally sustainable, just as delicious. If you would just open up your mind a little bit, you would see that vegan food is just as delicious, if not more delicious. I've been vegan for 7 years now, and I'm telling you what, every day I'm eating delicious foods. And a lot of the things that I make, very quick and easy to make. Right here on this app in the search box, if you put vegan recipes, you'll come across endless vegan recipes right here on TikTok. Hundreds of TikTokers who post vegan recipes. If you don't like to cook, go to happycow.net, put in your city. You can find vegan and vegan-friendly restaurants in any city. Grocery stores are filled with vegan options, and more vegan options are coming on to the market like almost daily. Just the other day, I got vegan crab cakes at Whole Foods, and they were delicious. All fruits, all vegetables, beans, grains, legumes, nuts, seeds are vegan. Most pasta is vegan. Most cereal is vegan. There's all kinds of different plant-based milks, plant-based burgers, plant-based chicken even, plant-based seafood, plant-based ice cream. Just about anything and everything you now consume, you can still eat in a vegan version. I still eat pizza. I just eat vegan pizza made with vegan cheese. And again, if you're against animal cruelty, you must go vegan. You must go vegan. It's a moral imperative that you go vegan, because if you are not vegan, you are literally funding animal abuse. Morning, noon, and night, day after day after day after day. It's like every single time you consume a non-vegan product, you are in fact paying someone to stab an animal in their throat. Even for dairy products, even for eggs, an animal is being stabbed in their throat, because dairy cows, when they can no longer produce enough milk to be profitable, which happens at a fraction of their natural lifespan, they are sent to slaughter and turned into ground beef. Egg-laying hens, when they can no longer produce enough eggs to be profitable, which happens at a fraction of their natural lifespan. They are sent to slaughter, had their throats slit, their heads chopped off, turned into pet food or chicken soup. So it all involves animal abuse. If it's not vegan, it's animal abuse. That's a fact. And again, if you understand that setting a dog on fire is animal abuse and should be, a crime, which you should spend time in prison for, why are you not vegan? Because I'm sure if the monster who set Riona on fire instead took a bolt gun to her head and stabbed her in her throat and then hung her up by one leg and bled her out and then cooked her up and ate her, I guarantee you would not be like, oh, that's okay because he ate her. So it's food, it's protein. No animal abuse going on here. No, you would probably think he was more of a monster if he did that. So yeah, like every single time you sit down to a non-vegan meal, you are literally having an animal killed. So I don't understand why people aren't more open to at least trying vegan options. Again, it's never been easy. So I don't know why people aren't more open-minded. Like why everybody gets so defensive when they come across a vegan and they just want to be so rude and be like, oh, you vegans are crazy. Or, oh, meat is so delicious. Like literally can see an animal suffering and then joke about it. And I'm sure a lot of people, when they, make these ignorant comments, you're probably just doing it to try to get under the skin of us vegans. I would hope that you really don't think it's funny that animals are being abused and killed. But what you're doing when you're making ignorant comments, you're literally like siding with the animal abusers. You're literally advocating for a multi-billion-dollar industry that is based on tormenting and massacring ceaseless billions of animals to the destruction of our planet, just to sell you products that literally increase your risk of heart attacks, stroke, kidney disease, many forms of cancer, especially colon cancer, and breast cancer. Hot dogs. Well, there are vegan hot dogs, in case you don't know. Check those out. Yeah, try the vegan hot dogs. Vegan sausage, vegan bacon, right on this app. There are TikTokers, again, like I said, that post vegan recipes. Look up how to make your own vegan chicken, vegan fried chicken, your own vegan cheese, your own vegan ice cream, your own vegan bacon. There's all kinds of ways to veganize just about anything and everything. Well, yeah, some people don't give a damn. I understand that. Like, I understand that there are actually people out there who enjoy abusing animals. They literally get off abusing animals. I understand that. I'm not trying to reach the people who get off abusing animals. I'm trying to reach the people who are against animal abuse and trying to make them understand that they have to be vegan. You do. You have to be vegan, because if you're not, you are funding animal abuse all day long. So you can't say you're against animal abuse if you're literally funding it all day long. I mean, that's why I went vegan. I didn't go vegan because I didn't like eating bacon or filet mignon or porterhouse steaks or cheese or ice cream. I went vegan because I saw how those products were produced and I was horrified. I was like, what the fuck? I don't want to see, like, even for eggs, in the egg industry, at the hatcheries where all egg-laying hens come from, they cannot determine the sex of the chicks until after they hatch. So upon hatching, they sort the males like they did here. These are all male chicks. And they're about to be dumped into a macerator which grinds them up alive because they're useless to the egg industry. They're males, so they don't lay eggs, and they are not the same breed used for meat. They do not grow quick enough or big enough to be profitable for meat. So they're ground up alive as soon as they hatch. If you would not support an industry that grinds up puppies alive, if you would not support an industry that grinds up kittens alive, why on earth are you supporting the egg industry? I understand there was a time, probably maybe even yesterday, you didn't know these things. Okay, you were mindlessly consuming, like I used to mindlessly consume animal products. But once I learned what was happening to these animals, I could not turn a blind eye. And not just turn a blind eye, but literally continue to fund these abuses. I realized that I had to go vegan because if I was not vegan, I was literally paying people to abuse animals in my name. And yeah, if you hire a hitman to kill someone for you and you get caught, you are going to be charged with murder. Even though you did not murder the person with your own hands, the fact that you hired somebody and you paid somebody to kill someone on your behalf makes you a murderer. You see what I'm saying? And again, I understand most people are just mindlessly consuming animal products. That's why vegans are here, to make you think twice now, to make you reconsider your choices. Like, okay, now that I know that these animal products just don't magically appear, there's this whole awful process to producing, and that the fact that these products aren't even healthy. In case you don't know, one egg has over twice as much cholesterol as a Big Mac. Since when is eating a Big Mac healthy, let alone 2 Big Macs in a row? So yeah, these products aren't even healthy. So the more meat, dairy, and egg products you consume, the more risk you have of heart disease, cerebrovascular disease, kidney disease, many forms of cancer, especially colon cancer and breast cancer. Yeah, plant lives matter. That's why you need to go vegan. That's an argument for veganism, not against it. A hell of a lot more plants have to be killed to fatten up livestock. Yeah, what do you think those cows are eating for, the 12 to 22 month period they're being fattened up for slaughter? What do you think the pigs are eating for the 6 months they're being fattened up for slaughter? A lot more plant foods than you would eat. In fact, it takes up to 16 pounds of grains to get just 1 pound of beef in return. It takes up to 6 pounds of grains to get just 1 pound of poultry in return. It takes a hell of a lot more plants to fatten up livestock. On top of the fact that animal agriculture is the leading cause of deforestation. Every single second, an acre of land is cleared, and it is mainly to graze and grow food for the ceaseless tens of billions of animals that are being raised for their flesh and secretions. Yeah, so think about what that means for plants, as an acre of land is cleared per second. So if you're truly concerned about plants, you absolutely need to go vegan. And not only should you go vegan, you should become a fruitarian, because no plants are harmed for fruits, nuts, or seeds. And it was a vegan. It was a vegan who spent 2 years of her life in a 600-year-old redwood tree to save it from being chopped down. Yeah. Julia Butterfly Hill is a vegan, and she spent 2 years of her life in a 600-year-old tree to save that tree from being cut down. Yeah, it wasn't a meat eater, who spent 2 years of their life, sacrificed 2 years of their life in a tree to save it from being cut down. Yeah, so vegans, we do care about plant life too. So I just don't understand why people get so mad at vegans. I mean, that would be like, I'm saying, hey, I don't abuse children. I don't pay people to abuse children. So anybody out there who's abusing children, please stop. You don't have to. There's other things you can do to find enjoyment without harming someone. Would you hate me for that? Would you be like, oh my God, this bitch is crazy? What I'm doing is the same thing, but for animals. I don't abuse animals. I don't pay people to abuse animals. I'm vegan. If you're not vegan, that means you are harming animals or you are paying someone to harm animals for you. That's not a good thing. And I guess that just bothers people when that's pointed out to them. That, yeah, you're hurting animals and that's not a good thing. And deep down, you know it isn't. You know we're right. You know vegans are right. And you hate the fact that we're right and you're wrong. What you're doing to animals is wrong. You know, unless you are literally in a survival situation where you have like no access to plant-based foods, you cannot justify killing an animal because you're just doing it for sensory pleasure. Sensory pleasure is not a justification for victimizing someone. Otherwise, yeah, there would be a lot of crimes that would not be crimes if we could just, you know, do whatever makes us feel good. And, you know, victimize humans because, yeah, well, it made me feel good. The only time it would ever be acceptable to kill an animal is if your life is literally in jeopardy. And anybody living in a civilized society, you're not in a survival situation. Your life is not on the line. So get over it and just open up your mind a little bit. In the search box right here on TikTok, put vegan recipes. You'll come across endless vegan recipes. Hundreds of TikTokers who post vegan recipes. So give some of those people a follow, and I'm sure you'll come across lots of vegan recipes that you like. And you'll see some of these recipes are so simple and easy. You might already have the ingredients in your kitchen. And if you don't like to cook, go to happycow.net, put in your city, and you'll be able to find vegan and vegan-friendly restaurants in any city. So at least once a month, or better yet, like once or twice a week, you know, visit a vegan restaurant or a restaurant that has vegan options and try some of those options. And I guarantee you will be surprised. My husband's friend from Pittsburgh was here last week and he ate vegan like every day and almost everything he liked. He said he really didn't care for the tofu, but everything else he really liked. And I told him he probably would like the tofu if I had made it like the tofu scramble. He probably would like that, but he was only here for a few days, so I didn't get around to making that for him. No, I'm just against animal abuse. I'm not classist. I'm simply against animal abuse. Just like I'm against child abuse, and I would never harm a child, and I would never pay someone to harm a child on my behalf. I don't harm animals either, and I would never pay someone to harm an animal knowingly. And that's why I'm vegan, because I understand if I'm not vegan, yeah, I'd be knowingly harming animals. And I don't want any animals harmed on my behalf. I don't have to harm an animal to be healthy. Actually, my health has significantly improved since going vegan. And I still eat delicious foods. And I'm telling you, I eat more delicious foods now than I used to. Because before I went vegan, I guarantee like at least once a week, I would eat something and it would be like, oh, I should have made something else tonight. Or I should have ordered something else off the menu. Yeah, because back when I used to eat dead animals, you know, those dead animals are in different stages of decomposition. So they never taste like the same. It's never consistent. Never. That dead animal flesh is never consistent. Like sometimes it would taste good and then other times it'd be like, ew, this is fucking nasty. I never get that anymore. My food is consistent. Always tastes the same. Because I'm not eating like a decaying animal. You're not going to be releasing millions of animals into the environment. Farmers need to stop sexually abusing animals. That's how they force them to reproduce. That's how they get these animals to reproduce. They call it artificial insemination, but look it up. Look up artificial insemination of cows, pigs, chickens, even fish, even bees. See how they collect the semen from the male animals. Very, very disturbing. They literally masturbate male animals to force them into orgasm, to force them to ejaculate, so they can steal their semen, so they can force it into the females to force them to reproduce. So yeah, they need to just leave their hands off the animal's private parts. And then we wouldn't have to worry about these animals, overpopulating. And there's already farmers who have transitioned. There's a husband and wife who had a poultry farm for like 20 years. They both went vegan. And now, instead of raising chickens for their flesh, they're growing mushrooms. There's another chicken farmer who is now growing hemp. And he's making millions of dollars every year growing hemp, when he was barely making any money at all before. There is a animal sanctuary in Texas, the Rowdy Girl Sanctuary. It used to be the Sonnen cattle ranch, but both the husband and the wife went vegan, and they turned their cattle ranch into an animal sanctuary, and they're helping other people do the same. There are dairy farmers who are now producing plant-based milk products. So yeah, even farmers are transitioning. I mean, once you know better, how can you not do better? I mean, I just don't understand why people fight so hard against veganism. Why just not have an open mind and be like, okay, well, yeah, I'll look into some vegan recipes, and, maybe like once or twice a week, I'll try something. And then once you try something and you're like, wow, that's pretty good, I'll try something else. And then, oh, wow, that's pretty good too. Before you know it, it's like so easy to be vegan. No, my lipstick is absolutely vegan and not tested on animals. And I was doing that way before I went vegan, because I had been brainwashed, severely brainwashed, to thinking I had to eat animals to be healthy. But yeah, once I learned about like animal testing, it was like, no, I don't have to wear makeup. So there's no way I would ever purchase a product that involved testing on animals or contain animal byproducts. I mean, I stopped wearing leather like 10 years before I went vegan, but it took me some time to go vegan, because, I kept fooling myself, believing the lies, believing, oh, you have to eat animals to get your protein, that it's normal, that it's necessary. And none of that's true. None of that's true. And back in 2008, that's when I stopped eating beef and pork and chicken and turkey, because, I had seen some slaughterhouse footage, and it, just had me like flipping out. Like, how could they do that to an animal? I mean, oh my God, I just can't be a part of that. So I stopped eating beef and pork and chicken and turkey back in like 2008. But I continued for another 7 years to consume dairy products and to consume eggs, because I honestly at the time didn't think there was any animal cruelty involved. But it was 2015, when I was 42, that I learned about what they're doing to the male chicks in the egg industry. At the hatcheries where all egg-laying hens come from, they cannot determine the sex of the chicks until after they hatch. So upon hatching, they sort the males and they put them through a macerator and grind them up alive, because they don't lay eggs and they're not the same breed used for meat. They do not grow quick enough or big enough to be profitable for meat. And the egg-laying hens themselves, they sent to slaughter when they can no longer produce enough eggs to be profitable. That typically happens at about 1.5 years of age, when they can live over 7 years. And in the dairy industry, unlike what most people think, without her consent. Seriously doubt you would call that artificial insemination. But yeah, in the dairy industry, they forcibly impregnate the dairy cow so that she will start to lactate. When that dairy cow gives birth, they steal her baby from her. If that baby is a boy, they send that baby to a slaughterhouse. Behind me, this is a screenshot of an undercover investigation where they are slaughtering the male calves taken off the dairy cows. This is a 2-minute video. I dare you to watch it, and then get back with me and tell me what you think. It's only 2 minutes long. If you Google Kinder World Calf Slaughter, Kinder World Calf Slaughter, you'll find this video. Watch it. And then tell me why you won't go vegan. I mean, look at this little baby, terrified, inside of a slaughterhouse, moments before he's literally killed. And this monster literally uses him as a punching bag after he kills him and hangs him up. I don't understand how anybody could support this and then claim to be an animal lover, claim to be against animal abuse. Literally having babies stolen from their mothers and killed so you can have their baby food when there's all kinds of plant-based milk alternatives. There's even plant-based cheese, even plant-based ice cream. There's no reason in the world to be supporting this evil industry. I don't understand how, like, it's 2022. Wake up, people. And again, there are dairy farmers. It's not like these dairy farmers have to go out of business. They just need to change their product line. I mean, there's dairy farmers now who have transitioned and now are producing plant-based milk. That's the right thing to do. Stop stealing babies from their mothers. Stop killing these babies. All of these animals in the animal agriculture industry are killed as babies. Pigs are just 6 months old when they're slaughtered. They can live over 10. They have their teeth clipped. The males are castrated without any anesthesia. And when the piglets are sick or are not growing quick enough to be profitable for meat, they are slammed off the concrete floor. It's completely legal to kill the piglets like this, to slam them off the concrete floor and throw them in the trash, because it would eat into the farmer's profits to hire a vet to come out and treat these sick animals or to euthanize them. So yeah, to save money, they'll just slam them off the concrete floor and kill them. Blunt force trauma. And in the poultry industry, same thing. Workers will go through those sheds once or twice a day and break the necks of any of the chickens that are sick. Because again, it would eat into the farmer's profits to hire a vet to come and treat those sick birds or euthanize them. So they just break their necks. I've seen undercover footage where workers are literally stomping on their heads and pulling their bodies and trying to rip their head off. Or sometimes they'll just like leave them to lay there and die a slow death, and then they'll throw them in the trash. But the whole industry is based on brutalizing animals and killing them as babies. Chickens are only 6 weeks old when they're killed. They can live over 7 years. Even beef cattle they're only between 12 to 22 months when they're slaughtered. They can live over 20 years. Even dairy cows are sent to slaughter when they can no longer produce enough milk to be profitable. That typically happens at about 5 years of age when they can live over 20 years. Chickens sent to slaughter when they can no longer lay enough eggs to be profitable. That typically happens at about 1.5 years of age when they can live over 7 years. And even like for maybe the 1% of animals that might actually be given any kind of life worth living, the better these animals are treated, which like 99% of these animals are tormented, basically kept like in a fucking Saw movie. But even for like maybe the 1% of animals who are treated with any kind of decency, the better they are treated, the more they want to live. And the more of a betrayal it is to steal their life from them over a meal that can easily be substituted with something plant-based that's so much healthier, so much more environmentally sustainable. What are we doing? I mean, you know, that's the thing. It's like people act like, oh, you vegans think you're so much better than everybody. I don't. I mean, I'm just like, my mind is blown. It's like, I don't think I'm like the smartest person around or even the nicest person around. So that's why it's like, wait a second, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who are smarter than I am, who are nicer than I am. Why are these people not vegan? It makes no sense to me. It literally makes no sense. You're smarter than me. You're nicer than me. So why are you not vegan? Makes no sense. And do you know that Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla, Leonardo da Vinci, Sir Isaac Newton, Socrates, Pythagoras, Plato, Plutarch, all abstained from eating animals because they knew it was immoral and unhealthy. And even Albert Einstein knew it wasn't environmentally sustainable. Now, Albert Einstein didn't abstain from eating animals his entire life. It was towards the end of his life when he started to abstain from eating animal products. But yeah, he eventually stopped eating animals because he came to the realization that it was immoral, unhealthy, and not environmentally sustainable. Yeah, and you're not a true omnivore. If you were a true omnivore, you can take an animal down, no problem, by yourself. Most people could never kill an animal. I know back when I used to eat meat, there was no way in hell I would ever kill an animal. I used to despise hunters, but I didn't realize what I was doing back then was even worse. Yeah, I would have never been able to kill an animal. And especially now, like, knowing there's no need to because we don't have to eat meat. We're tricked. We're tricked into eating animals, thinking that it's natural. No, nothing natural is happening in the animal agriculture industry. There's nothing natural about this. They literally masturbate male animals, pigs, bulls, turkeys, roosters, fish, bees, force them to ejaculate, steal their semen, force it into the females to force them to reproduce. That is not natural. Bestiality, natural? Really? And then they keep these animals, like the pigs and the chickens and the turkeys, in these shit-filled sheds for months, crammed. This is not natural. If it was so natural, you would be out there in the woods, jumping on those rabbits and raccoons yourself and eating them like any other true omnivore or carnivore does. Or at least, eating roadkill. I mean, that would be more natural, but no. And it would be better, actually, because, at least the roadkill weren't tormented, weren't pumped with antibiotics and hormones, forced to live in shit for months. Yeah, but most people would be like appalled, like, what the hell? Eat roadkill? Ugh. But you're eating these animals that literally marinated in their own excrement for 6 months. This is not natural, people. It's not natural. If you were a natural meat eater, you would be eating meat like all the other omnivores and carnivores do. You wouldn't have to be paying someone to kill them for you and then only eat certain parts and cook them up and then, douse that slaughtered gore with all kinds of herbs and spices, which, in case you don't know, herbs and spices are vegan. So, all that delicious flavor, like, oh, meat's so tasty. Yes, probably, all of the herbs and spices and marinades that you flavored it with that's so delicious, not the dead, decaying animal flesh. My phone isn't vegan. Prove it. LCD screens, thank a carrot farmer for that. Carrot farmer for that. And just in case you don't know, slaughterhouses do not exist to make cell phones or markers or car tires. No, they exist because you want to consume animal flesh and animal secretions and wear their skins. That's why they exist. That's the only reason why they exist. That's the only reason why they will ever exist. It's not necessary to use animal byproducts in anything. Like, for instance, car tires. Most car tires do contain animal byproducts, but Michelin tires do not use animal byproducts because it's not necessary. Animal byproducts, that's just a way for the slaughter industry to maximize its profits. So instead of throwing out that slaughterhouse waste, they sell it off to other industries who have figured out how to use it. It's not necessary. Yeah, so it's ridiculous that you would try to justify having animals tortured and killed because I have a smartphone. I mean, would you use that to say, like, oh, it's okay to abuse children because you have a smartphone? Yeah. When I say I am vegan, what I'm saying is that I don't abuse animals and I do not pay people to abuse animals. That's all being vegan means. Really, I mean, in a nutshell. That, we don't abuse, and all use is abuse. So it's not like you actually have to be kicking or punching an animal for it to be abuse. If you're treating someone in a way that you would not want to be treated, that's cruelty, that's abuse. If you're exploiting someone just for your own self-gratification, that's abusive. That's not right. So oh, do you cry plant cruelty like when somebody's like killing a human? Like, oh, that's no big deal. Kill humans all you want because, look at that other person mowing their lawn, pulling weeds. I mean, come on, they're killing plants. Who gives a fuck if they're killing humans? There's no difference. I mean, yeah, there is a big difference. And yeah, if you don't think there's a difference, wow. People think literally killing a plant is the same as killing an animal. And they don't even realize humans are animals. So you're literally saying, chopping up a potato is no different than, chopping up a pig or chopping up a puppy or chopping up a person. No, you need to get over it. I mean, if you have no interest in going vegan, you can very easily ignore me, like you ignore the fact that you pay people to hurt animals. Unfortunately, these animals can't ignore, like, being forced to live in a fucking Saw movie. These animals can't ignore the fact that, you pay people to force them into a slaughterhouse and, stab them in their throat. They can't ignore what you're having done to them. But you could very easily ignore me. But for some reason, you can't. You don't want to. Because obviously, I've gotten under your skin. But don't be mad at me. I'm just here literally stating facts. And yeah, I guess that's what really bothers you. Because deep down, you know that I'm right and what you're doing to animals is wrong. Again, we don't have to eat animal flesh or secretions to be healthy. The research shows that, a plant-based diet is the best diet for human health. It can literally help reduce your risk of heart disease, cancer, diabetes, kidney disease, cerebrovascular disease, Parkinson's disease, and many other very common and very deadly diseases. And a plant-based diet by far is the best diet for the planet. Even researchers at Oxford did an extensive study of over 40,000 farms. Just look it up. Joseph Poore, Poore, he and other researchers at Oxford did an extensive study of over 40,000 farms and concluded that animal agriculture is so environmentally destructive, going vegan, not becoming a vegetarian, not regenerative agriculture, but going vegan is the best way to save the planet, and that if the world went vegan, land totaling the size of Africa could be freed up. Not like the state of Texas. We're talking about the whole continent of Africa, because that's how much land is needed to graze and grow food for all of these ceaseless tens of billions of animals that are needed to keep up with the demand for animal flesh and animal secretions. Again, a pig is raised for like 6 months. Cattle are raised between 12 to 22 months before they're slaughtered. These animals have to eat. They eat a lot. They have to drink. They drink a lot. And in a heat wave, they're drinking even a lot more water. Half the water, the fresh water usage is directed to the animal agriculture industry. Animal agriculture is very environmentally destructive. It is the leading cause of deforestation, species extinction, water pollution, water depletion, ocean dead zones, fisheries depletion, pandemics, world hunger, and climate change. I mean, there are 1 billion people right at this very moment starving because food they could be eating is being used to fatten up livestock. So privileged people can eat meat. Yeah, third world countries, they do sell their grains to the animal agriculture industry while their own people starve. No, the food chain. What food chain do you shop at? The food chain I shop at has endless plant-based options. I mean, let's be real. Yeah, they do, because these animals, literally tens of billions of animals right at this very moment, tens of billions of animals right at this very moment are being raised for their flesh and secretions. These animals eat a lot of crops, in case you don't know. Grains, most of the soy, like 90% of the soy being grown is grown to feed livestock. These things could be used to feed the hungry people. Again, third world countries, they do sell their grains to the animal agriculture industry while their own people starve. I'm not even exaggerating. But yeah, I'm going to sign off. It's after midnight. Just open up your mind a little bit. Right in the search box, do a search for vegan recipes. You'll come across a bunch of TikTokers who post vegan recipes. Give some of those people a follow. And you'll see how easy it is to be vegan. Visit Happy Cow, put in your city. You'll find vegan and vegan-friendly restaurants in any city. Stick to a whole foods plant-based diet as much as possible. A diet filled with fruits, vegetables, beans, grains, legumes, nuts, seeds. That's the best diet. But yeah, I do sometimes, I'll get plant-based chicken, plant-based pizza, plant-based ice cream, indulge a little bit. But yeah, going vegan, it's the best thing you can do for the animals. It's the best thing you can do for the planet. And it's even the best thing you can do for your own health, especially if you're sticking to a mostly whole foods plant-based diet. If you think anything I've said tonight is a lie or exaggerated, just look into it. Right there at your fingertips. You can look into this and see everything I said here tonight is true. Oh yeah, please. Yeah, do a TikTok showing that Beyond Meat is carcinogenic and then tag me in it. Yeah, I'll wait. I'll be waiting for that tag. Okay? Yeah. Something I haven't heard. So, yeah, go for it. Do a TikTok and tag me in it. Show me the proof. What's your proof? Because I have never seen anything that says Beyond Meat is carcinogenic. Meat, dairy, and eggs.